Welcome to the CFA Society India podcast, where society members engage in conversations with industry experts to bring you unique insights. This podcast represents the views and opinions of the originally featured speaker and is posted with their express consent. The podcast is meant for educational purposes only. It should not be construed as research, recommendation, solicitation, or investment advice by CFA Society India. Now, let's dive into today's episode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special episode of CFA Society India podcast. I'm Shreya Banthia, your host for today's conversation. I'm a CFA charter holder and an active volunteer with the CFA Society India and currently work in a buy-side investment role. In this episode, we are joined by two incredible leaders who have built inspiring careers in the world of finance. Joining us first is Kanika Shah, CFA, a finance professional with deep experience of more than 2 decades across corporate and RIA space, along with her active volunteering with the CFA Society India and ARIA for a good 5 years. Also with us is Jayashree Sathy, a seasoned investment professional with over 2 decades of experience across asset management and investment leadership roles both in India and globally. Currently, Jayashree is the managing director of State Street. Together, we'll explore how they navigated their career crossroads, the lessons they learned through challenges, and their advice for the young professionals aspiring to make their mark in finance. So let's dive right in. Welcome, Kanika and Jayashree. Hi.
Hi, thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us, Shreya.
It is a privilege to be talking to you both. So let's start our conversation and let me ask you first both about the early days of career. What drew you to the world of finance? And in those initial years, what experiences helped you shape your this way you are today as a professional?
My story, or the way I started with finance is probably a little unexpected turn of events. As I was growing, I'm part of a family with two other siblings, all 3 girls. My father comes from a science background, and so does my mom. My dad was into computers very early on in the 1970s, which is when India was seeing the advent of computers and so on in corporates. So he headed the computer division, and that's when my excitement about computers all started growing. And I always dreamt about building robos and and cool computer programs, right? So that was what I always was excited about at early on. But having said that, though it was an exciting thing for me, my dad constantly drove us to understand how finance works. He would take the 3 of us, 3 daughters, to the stock exchange every Saturday.
Really?
So that we can really see how the auction works and how the trading floor really operates. It was not digital back then. I don't want you to guess my age, but that's when I was young, and so we were all really excited and overwhelmed by the way things work, right? I mean, the shouting, the screaming, and the enthusiasm, the euphoria, and then the rest of the week, Dad would really look at all the papers and look at what the prices are, stock prices, look at news, how it impacts, and he would share that information with us, right? So while we were growing, when we would go to a grocery store or any store or a clothing store, my dad would say, hey, yeah, we should buy this particular product, Bata shoes, because we are the owner of that company. So we started to believe that, okay, all these products, right, whether it's HLL or any of these ITC products, all of those which we are buying as an owner, right? We have the right to buy because it's our company. So we started growing with that interest, and eventually I realized that At the time when I was graduating, I realized that no, it's not computers, it is finance that I want to really get into. Though I gave my entrance for MCA immediately after my chartered accountants, after my BCom graduation, I still went ahead and joined a CA firm to do CA, having finished CA foundation right after 12th and so on. But I still went ahead and did chartered accountancy, and after that, finance was my career and is still my career. So I've never looked back.
Okay, just let me jump in. Though I'm not asking you your age, but at what age you were exposed to the world of finance? How early was that?
It was very early. It was as early as far as I remember, right? I mean, it must have been some first standard, second standard, right?
Oh,
Which means 6 years of age.
that's incredible.
My eldest sister was 5 years older to me, so all three of us would go with him. We used to think of it as a great outing right from Chembur, where I lived, to VT, the town side, and we used to go enjoy the ride, have faluda because that was part of the deal, and then we would see the whole thing unfolding in front of us. Initially, it was a little too overwhelming, as I said, how people were really getting emotional and excited about everything. But that's how we were exposed, right? It
That's
was more passive
incredible.
learning. It was more of a passive learning. We never really intended, we never thought we would be interested, either of us, but all three of us ended up doing CA. So
Yeah, I totally agree. Kanika, your thoughts on that?
So my journey with finance was purely on luck. Um, the time when we graduated, the career options were very straightforward. If you were intelligent, you took science. Um, if you didn't know what to do, you would take arts, and people in the middle would take commerce. That's where I think I was. Not to say that I didn't think I was intelligent at that point of time, but it's just so happened that all of my friends, they took commerce, and herd mentality was like a very, very big thing when we were growing up. So I basically entered into commerce, spent 5 years, not in college, but sitting at the coffee shop outside. And then by the time I graduated, I realized I had nothing on my plate to basically start off my career with, because with just a commerce degree, you really can't do much. In the interim period, I had started doing my CA foundation course. But while I was going through the course curriculum, and I did, give the entrance exam as well, I didn't really think that I was meant for accounting. So I kind of pivoted after my graduation. I moved to MBA finance. And luckily, around that time, I'm talking about the year 99, 2000, was a very, very bad economic time for our country. Getting jobs on campus was very, very difficult. I still landed up a job, which was a hardcore finance job with UTI, which was the only mutual fund at that point of time. And what happened subsequently was that after I joined, the famous US 64 scam broke out. Um, I really didn't know what to do. I mean, when I joined the organization, everybody in the organization said, you've made like the biggest mistake of your life. You shouldn't have joined UTI. I didn't really know what to do. I said, okay, let me kind of stick around. I wanted to get into a field called credit research at that point of time, but the organization had its own, thought process. They put me into equity research. That's when I kind of thought that, if I had to build my, resume, if I had to build my career, I had to start taking up another hardcore finance degree. And after having done the MBA in finance, I mean, I was actually wondering what else could I do. So then that's when I kind of started doing the CFA. I started in, I think, the year 2000. I completed all the three levels in 2002. I got my charter in 2003. And since then, the finance journey has been no looking back.
That's for sure. So, looking back, what skills help you grow the most, and which one did you consciously develop later on?
I think what helped me a lot was two inherent skills that I already had, right? Which is I was very determined as a child. And so that determination and clarity helped me to some extent. And of course, the most important thing which helped me was the curiosity. I was always a why kind of a child, right? So that really helped me because it helped me really expand my horizons hugely. Now, though those two inherent skills helped me, there were a lot of other skills that I had to really work on consciously, right? I was a shy child growing up, and coming from a conservative middle class household and so on. Now, when I got into PricewaterhouseCoopers, which was my first articleship experience for a chartered accountancy, the world was very different from what I have seen in my formative years. And the folks came from different backgrounds. I had to interact with people in the different clients as part of the audit, and I couldn't really be in a shell, right? I had to really speak to get the information, right information for me to be successful, own my space. So that helped me build my confidence to a large extent, and most importantly, social skills. So I focused a lot on building my social skills and breaking that social inhibition to a large extent, right? I think that's what I worked on consciously throughout. I've still not mastered it. I'm still working through it. Plus the networking skills, right? That I feel networking skills was something which I had to consciously work on. It didn't really come naturally, but I had to consciously work on because I thought it was definitely important to build my circle of influence. So that's something I'm still working on.
Totally agree. Networking and these soft skills are so underrated, but they have become all the more relevant in today's world. It's so competitive. You have to develop these skills, but they are still so underrated.
I think when I was growing up, my circumference was around 5 kilometers outside my house. I never stepped out. I never looked at the world outside. I never interacted with, different people. So that was something that, I had to kind of gradually work on, building my communication skills, going out. Networking definitely was something that I didn't do. It actually happens to be a regret in my case, and maybe we can talk about it a little more later on. But a couple of other things that I kind of worked on. One was that once I had started my career in research, I knew I wanted to increase the breadth of my experience. So I kind of focused a lot on my analytical skills. I kind of worked, and I had the opportunity of working with different asset classes, with different geographies, and that's kind of really helped me shape up. And over the last 20 years that I've been working on the corporate side, I've also been able to work with big teams. So I've kind of honed my leadership skills, my team building skills. Those are the couple of other things that I think I could add on to what Jayashree spoke about.
Definitely, definitely. While you were speaking about you developed your skills and you analytical skills, finance can be intense, high stakes, constant change, and long hours. So, what helped you stay resilient through tough phases, Kanika? How did you consciously means? How did you navigate it, the moments of self doubt or setbacks, or did you take it as a learning experience which you carry even today?
The first setback that I already spoke about, I mean, I joined an organization which was going through kind of a turmoil.
Yeah.
That was like my first initial setback that I basically faced. And I said, okay, let me take things in my stride. Can I improve my resume? Can I learn on the job? I mean, maybe the organization is not doing well, but can it give me the kind of work experience that would set my, career kicking? So I kind of, at that point of time, made the most of, the experience that I had. I learned on the job. I made mistakes. But, like the experience that I had at UTI, I mean, it kind of happened to be so good because, they really, really groom you well. When you're in equity research, you have the opportunity to meet so many managements. You have opportunities to go and, visit plants. We used to take about a month to make, one equity research report, which would, it's kind of like those timelines are kind of unimaginable on the sell side. So that was a great learning experience. But if you kind of recollect, I said I started doing my CFA at that point of time. So I sort of always had a plan B. That's when I got the opportunity to work with D. Shaw and Company. From a profile perspective, it was a downgrade because, from equity research, I had to kind of start looking at data and, but I again took it as an opportunity to kind of start afresh. Luckily for me, the organization was also building up their fundamental research capabilities, so I could partake in terms of their growth on that phase along with mine. So again, it's been a good opportunity there. Once you know. A few years had basically like gone by. I had my first child. Uh, I had a very difficult pregnancy. I was working from home. Um, and my career kind of took a setback again because, I kind of was not working at my optimum, efficiency for like the next 2 years of my life. So again, that was a setback. Again, I think I kind of took it in my stride, saying that, I'm not competing with the other people who were with me. I'm competing with myself. So can I then make a better person of myself by, putting in the hard work and putting in the effort? So that's basically like how I've looked at the setbacks that I've kind of faced.
That is a wonderful note to pause on. We are not competing with others. We are competing with ourselves, and we want to make a better person of us. Wonderful thought. Jayashree, you want to add?
Yeah, I love that the entire narrative, Kanika, of your personal life, right? And I too love the line that you mentioned, and that's so important, right? To remind ourselves that we are not in competition with anybody else but ourselves. Yeah, I have similar kind of evolution of my career where I had different different things that I picked up. Some partly chosen by me, some because I had to make a choice and change tracks, considering that I got married, moved to Bangalore, again had to leave Mumbai and come to Bangalore, working with with mergers and acquisitions team in Citigroup. Was doing great there. It was a great opportunity. That's exactly what I wanted to do. But then I had to move and make a fresh start in Bangalore, right? So I moved to sell side research in Bangalore in a space that was just being built up, which is fixed income research for Deutsche Bank. And I said, okay, let me look at that, right? Because I was doing M&A, and then I come to this side of the world on the research side. I need to start creating a space for my own, and then build this new product and come into the fixed income space, which is new to me completely. But I thought, okay, let me just venture into it, and I grabbed it as an opportunity, and that was good for me because I got to learn a brand new asset class completely and start up a team fresh, bottom up, right? And we went on to shine, establish a great unit where we started doing secondary research, to initiating coverage on several companies globally in the fixed income space, providing calls on various bonds and so on, and various bond strategies as well. So I think that made and that was a challenge, but converted it into an opportunity for me, just like how Kanika also cashed upon her opportunities in Hyderabad. Self-doubt, yes, of course. To your question, Shreya, did come many a time. I wouldn't deny that, and it was more so in my initial years of my career, because each time I would make a change. I haven't made too many changes, but each time there would be a new thing which comes in front of me. I would still wonder if am I to take it up because it's something new? Should I do it? Should I not do it? Would I succeed? And so on and so forth. But the initial challenges that I forced myself to take on and face helped me face self-doubt each time, crush it thereafter, right? Because I started realizing that the only question I need to ask myself is, what is the worst that can happen, right? Worst that can happen is I may not do well, and I would know if I'm not doing well, and I would cut my losses quickly and exit. So it is not that I shouldn't raise my hand and pick the challenge till I'm a perfect 10, right? So that helped me. So self-doubt does keep popping its head up, and I have to keep hammering it down, right? Which with my question, what is the worst that can happen?
So, though you partly answered, I want to just throw in this question, which many of us, in maybe in the middle of our careers, we do face, where we are at crossroads, whether we want to stay in a stable path or choose another frontier, like in some other career opportunities. So, what factors should we weigh in?
I think the most important thing is to introspect, right? What is it that is important to you? What is extremely important to you? Um, how much are you willing to risk, and how much are you willing to learn something afresh, completely afresh, and face ambiguity, right? Because anything new is going to be ambiguous. Are you okay to be in that ambiguous space, and probably take the risk of fast tracking your career, or at the same time coming back, right? Or going through the stable mode of going in the safe zone that you have been progressing on, which is slow but steady, right? So now nothing is wrong. It is okay to choose a stable career path. It is not necessary that everybody has to plunge and take risks in their life, but it is always best if you feel that you want to you want to really propel your career, and you are willing to take that risk, you're willing to embrace ambiguity, then it is important to do that quickly rather than keep thinking about it and over analyzing it, right? Because then the opportunity just passes off. So that is what I think we should do. We should weigh in what kind of a personality am I? Am I willing to take that challenges, new risk, and come back to square one if things don't work, and start from there again? Or would I be a personality who would be totally depressed and crushed if things don't work, right? If I'm not a personality who can handle ambiguity and risk, then yeah, stable path, yes. Have a progress line is also something that people should think about, right? So in terms of, if I'm going to go through this path and it doesn't really help me climb the ladder, am I willing to accept that, saying that all my peers are going to go up quickly and I'm going to go very slowly? Am I willing to accept that as well, right? So I think these are the things that one needs to weigh in and
You
choose.
brought in such clarity, because many a times I want to share. I go through those phases. What am I doing with my career? Should I be doing this or should I be doing that? So that was more, so much clarity on a personal front that I got. I can vouch for that. Kanika, you want to
That's
add?
nice.
Yeah, I think it also helps to kind of correlate this with the phase. So it's not like, your career needs to grow at an accelerated rate all throughout, your career. So there can be times when you're taking it slow. There can be times when you're accelerating it. And I'll just give you an example. I had a good phase, during the time that I was just married. I didn't have a child, but till my child was about 5 years old, I was kind of busy, and I couldn't really take my career head on at that point of time. After she was 5, I had that much time, to devote. My responsibilities at home were much lower. I could devote that much of time to my job. My career was kind of, then that's the point where I kind of felt that, I could really take more risk. I could spend more time at work. I had, that much more mind space to basically like take on new career opportunities. So I think it kind of helps. So I've been talking to like a few women, as part of the mentoring, volunteering work that I do. Sometimes people are kind of getting married. I tell them, if you are getting married, wait for some time, decide basically if the new environment suits the kind of work profile that you want to do. If you're going to have children, wait for some time. And also, kind of one thing that has kind of worked for me with my family is that between my husband and myself, we've alternated times when our careers have accelerated. So the time when I was basically like, very busy with personal responsibilities, his career was kind of growing much, much faster. So that's kind of worked out very, very well for me.
That is a balanced approach. Totally agree with that. Okay, we should take into a factor in the phase of life we are in right now. Right,
Yeah,
Jayashree?
absolutely, absolutely, 100%.
So, you had such an illustrious journey, but I'm sure there would have been people who helped you in your path. So, any stories or any experiences you want to share of people who opened doors for you in this journey?
It hasn't been for me, unfortunately. Um, uh, in fact, like throughout my career, there have been very few women, that I have worked with, whom I could look up to, whom I could speak to, regarding my problems and my personal circumstances. In fact, till the time I, quit the corporate world, I didn't have a single team member who was a woman. I didn't have any seniors who were women. So I felt that there was somebody who could relate to what my situation was, and therefore I kind of lacked um, uh, you know a mentor, actually, which is why I kind of looked at to be a mentor for somebody else who could basically like who's looking for guidance, and who's looking for a more structured approach towards making enhancements to their careers.
That has been a tough conditioning for you, I guess. But definitely you are contributing to being a volunteer. Jayashree, you had any mentors or sponsors in your career?
Yeah, so since I followed the path with my sisters and so on and so forth, my circle at home was the strongest mentorship circle, with my dad and my sisters being my sounding board oftentimes. Work-wise, since I was shy, I didn't reach out, right? So I don't know whether it was by design that I didn't reach out, or and also during the early stages of my career, mentorship sponsorship was not something which was quite popular. Yeah, there were hardly any women, like Kanika said, but even the men, there was no concept of mentorship. Sponsorship is definitely far off. Now, when it has started picking up in the last few years, I have self-appointed certain mentors informally, who don't know that I think they are my mentors, but then I just call them for advice and seek their advice and help as and when required, right? So that is what I do. Now, I just want to also call upon the fact that reverse mentoring is now picking up a lot of steam now, and it's a new fad. Now, though I have not experienced reverse mentoring, but then I think it's a very interesting concept where it can really help the senior folks take advice from the junior folks, empower the junior folks and make them feel empowered and valued, while the senior folks can stay relevant, because now the things are changing so fast. The Gen Z and Gen whatever are coming up. It is important for us to take also and take advice from the newbies, trying to understand what their psyche is, what their thought process is, and so on and so forth. I often do that at home with my 12-year-old son, where he gives me a lot of solutions which are not complicated at all to grown-up problems, right? And I ask him like, oh, you know what, this is the problem, this is a problem. I tell it in his way and he gives me a solution, and I'm like, oh, okay, why was I complicating myself so much? So yeah, that's where I am. But now, like Kanika, I am also very big in giving back through mentorship programs and sponsorship as well, both at corporate, within the corporate that I work in, as well as outside, CFA Society being a very important part through the FEMTOR program. But I think that's very important, and that's lovely that it has got unraveled now in today's age and time, right? But when things are so complex, there are so many options.
So true. So while we are at this mentorship, topic of mentorship, Kanika, you had a fascinating career from working in the corporate finance to moving into RIA, and then you're also into volunteering with the CFA Society as well as ARIA, the Association for RIAs. So, what motivates you to give it back to you? Partly answered it that you never have those mentors, but do you feel that such platforms are important for professionals to build connections, confidence, and perspective beyond their day to day work? And if you can walk us through your journey of volunteering.
So back in 2018, I had completed about 20 years of experience on the corporate side. My firm actually decided to shut down the office in Mumbai, and they asked me to move to Hyderabad, which is where, our GCC is. Um, I didn't want to kind of take that kind of step. And by that time, I thought I had had enough of the corporate world, and I wanted to kind of become an entrepreneur. I said, I have a few years of my career pending. Can I do something? Can I take more risk? Can I do things independently? Can I do things at my own pace rather than having to work long hours? And that's when I said, okay, let me try using the expertise that I have in the area of finance to become an RIA. Why I chose RIA, I really don't know, because the industry at that point of time was very, very young. The regulations had just come out in 2013. And, by 2019, not much progress had been made. Even the mutual funds had not heard of the concept of RIA. And I was like, why is it like that? It just didn't make sense to me. Uh, uh, Luckily for me, I wasn't kind of looking for, a profession as a business anymore. I kind of was kind of working, looking at work from a, passion perspective. And then that's when I kind of started thinking that can I give back to society by using my finance knowledge? I mean, money, everybody donates and everybody does charity, but can I do that? So that's when I kind of started looking at volunteering opportunities. So with CFA Society India, the first volunteering opportunity I got was basically to work on the research challenge. I opted as a mentor. Given the experience that I had, I thought, okay, this is a good time for me to even connect with the younger generation and see how they are looking at equity research. So I started with that. This has been, I think, my fifth or the sixth year with the research challenge as a mentor, with limited, I would say, mixed, success. So sometimes my teams have made it to the Asia Pac regionals. Sometimes my team hasn't even turned in a report. So, but it has been interesting to connect with with the younger generation, work with them for a month, and see what they can come up with. So that has been really interesting. The second thing that I've been doing on the CFA Society India side is I've been, volunteering as a mentor for the FEMTOR initiative. I've been a mentor for a couple of years. And again, this is basically like related to what I said earlier. I've not had a formal mentor all throughout my career. And I feel that if I had somebody to talk to, maybe my career would have taken a different path. So can I give back again as a mentor? And that has been it has been a pretty enriching experience working with two women that I've worked in season 1 and season 2. I didn't have to do much. I just had to nudge them a little bit to take the right career moves. I had just nudged them a little bit to be, to take more initiative. And at the end of the FEMTOR season, we've seen some nice results in the form of like somebody getting a job, somebody getting a promotion, somebody relating more to things at work. So that has been very, very encouraging. The third area that I have worked with the CFA Society was that this year I kind of also participated as a grader in the ethics challenge, which was interesting because, it's been about 25 years since I've done my CFA. I've forgotten everything about ethics. So it was a good refresher for me. I kind of went back to all the standards. I read up about it, and I did this. So that's been great. Uh, One other thing that basically like happened while I kind of started the RIA profession was that, like I mentioned, the industry was very nascent. I didn't really know anything about the industry, and it was very surprising that nobody knew anything about it. So I said, okay, what do I do about, about building my business? I wasn't really very serious. That's when I kind of thought that the power of networking actually, kind of really resonated with me, because by the time I had, volunteered in different initiatives with them for, 2 years, I was connected with who's who in the industry. I was able to kind of then, operate my business with so much of confidence, because at any point of time, I had access to at least 10 different advisors to basically like look at any problem that I could, possibly have. So, yeah, that's how things have worked out for me on the volunteering side of things.
Jayashree, I would love to bring you in here. So, do you think that being a part of these professional networks play a role in shaping one's growth, both personally and professionally?
Definitely, right? For me, the whole thing of my personal growth, right? It took a different turn completely, an accelerated turn completely when I started giving back, right? Pay forward. And the first opportunity that I had in doing so was outside of the CFA Institute, CFA Society, but it was more on the teaching side. Now, that was very close to my heart. The reason being, when I started my career, I had very limited understanding about finance and what it entails, right? I just knew that there would be a banking, there would be retail bank, commercial bank, and there was valuation, investment banking, and so on, but not beyond that, because I had theoretical knowledge, not practical. As I moved into the world of finance, I realized that theory and practice largely have a gap in between them. So, and I used to always think over time, saying that, okay, if we had known how practice works, how things practically works in the industry, I personally would have been very much excited and put my heart and soul in understanding and learning much more than what I had actually invested in myself back then, right? So that is the gap that I was very much aware and conscious of. So when I got this first teaching opportunity to teach undergrads, in a university about finance topics and so on for their term, I grabbed it. It was with full apprehension that I grabbed it, because I was very afraid whether I could do it. Can I stand in front of huge number of college students on the stage and speak to them? I don't know what they would do. They would really retaliate. What would they do? Would they really accept me as a teacher, as a professor? So with a lot of apprehension, I did that, and it went really well. They really accepted me, and they engaged a lot, and that led me to many teaching assignments, right, on the post graduation side as well. So that way, I did not just pay forward, I actually gained a lot, because through their engaging conversations, questions, I also steepened my personal learning curve. So that was amazing for me. And that helped me get into the CFA societies teaching volunteering job, and they introduced the Young Women in Investment program. So every year I would really participate in that for one segment to participate as part of volunteering. And then thereafter, of course, the FEMTOR and the ethics challenge, where I participated together with Kanika. Definitely a very engaging feeling, right? So with these associations, right, while the basic premise has been pay forward and give back, I have been gaining huge amount because of the professional association through these professional networks. And not to say, or say the least, if I miss a seminar, CFA Institute seminar, I feel horrible, right? Because the amount of networking opportunities that one gets while just going attending there, exchanging a few conversational topics with like-minded individuals is immense, right? So I think that's what you gain from being associated with professional bodies like
Definitely.
these.
Even I do feel at these networking events or these seminars, there is so much of informal mentoring going on and discussing with others. You get
Correct.
those aha moments. Oh, yes, this can happen. This is
I
not
know.
the way I looked at this talk or something. So these are incredible source of learning. Networking is so underrated, I think so.
Yeah.
Definitely. And also, if you could speak about you have 2 decades of experience and you have the senior leadership roles, and you also mentioned there are very few women at the top. So, do you feel you had to lead differently or to make yourself heard at the table?
Definitely. Um, so, so the CFA Institute's Mind the Gap report, right? It says that there are only 20% representation of women in the workforce. And in key managerial roles, senior roles, it is just about 10% to 15%, right? That shows how underrepresented we are. So as women really climb the ladder, somehow they hop off the ladder, right? Because of a lot of inhibitions, a lot of self-doubt, plus societal pressures. So while I face these, of course, and these challenges that you mentioned just now about being heard and so on, yes, that stays on, and that is something which I feel will not suddenly change in the professional world, whether it's corporate or non-corporate, but it is about how you deal with those, right? So just like stereotypes that men have at home, right? That is, a man has to earn the bread, the man should not cry, no boys cannot cry, and so on. Women face so much of stereotypes on the professional space, right? Workspace. Cannot be assertive. She's assertive. She's too aggressive. If she's assertive, she's too aggressive. She's too loud. Or if she's making a point very loud and clear, oh, she's too passionate. She's too emotional. So she cannot really make the right decisions because she cannot be strategic. She will be only emotionally led through decision-making process. Oh, she has children at home, aging parents at home. She has caregiving responsibilities, so she cannot take trips abroad. So we cannot really give her that high-powered role, which she has applied for. So such kind of stereotypes do exist, right? It is something which I've learned that those stereotypes are not something that we need to fight against, but we need to just take it in the right stride. And we have to say that, okay, they do exist. Instead of fighting against them, let us see how we turn them into our advantage, right? So I have learned to lead with authenticity. So I have said that, okay, I'm going to be my authentic self. I'm just going to be myself. I'm not going to change myself largely, whether appearance wise or conversationally and so on, just to fit into the crowd, but rather let me stand out, right? And I use my empathy and those skills and those powers to present myself saying that, hey, you know what? I know what's going on the ground because I have connected with these individuals, and that is how I bring things to the fore. So those are the little tweaks that I have learned to deal with or incorporate as part of my toolkit as I have led the way, right? But yes,
So
I do
powerful.
try to see how I make myself heard, um, because that's often a problem, and it will
Yes,
continue to be a problem, right?
totally agree. Instead of going against the tide, turn the tide to your favor.
So yes, again, very similar thoughts in terms of what Jayashree spoke about. But I had one more survival strategy, and that was basically like, I think at most points of time in my career, I was probably working 25-30% more than what the men in the organizations were working,
Oh yes.
just to prove, at the starting level that, you are capable enough to deliver the same output. But that basically like came at a cost, right? Because, you can't do that consistently. It basically like takes a toll on you. Luckily for me, because I didn't really move across a lot of organizations, it was easier to manage. So once my reputation was set, I didn't really have to go reinvent my career with a new employer. And probably that was one of the reasons why in 2018, when I decided to leave the corporate world, the biggest thing that was playing on my head was, oh no, I have to start off with another employer. I have to work that much harder. I have to, establish myself again. I don't want to do that anymore. So can I become an entrepreneur and do things the way I want to do it, so that nobody can question what she is basically like doing. So that's how I've basically like managed things at my end.
I think also to take support, right? Like Kanika, you would also agree. We have to take support and seek support from either from home or peer group, right? Wherever possible, because we cannot really do it all and be the superwoman, trying to don all hats at all times, right? And we are often hard on ourselves by saying that, oh, okay, we have to do everything by ourselves, right?
And
So-
everything perfectly, right? I mean, that's
Everything perfectly. That's right.
That's been something that I've always had to challenge myself, because there were points where I kind of felt that either I wasn't doing justice to the work, or I wasn't doing justice to my family, or I wasn't doing justice to my child, and then I was kind of thinking, what do I do? But then I had to kind of go back and mentally tell myself it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to forget things. But just kind of take it in your stride and move along with it, and never to give it up. That's the whole thought process.
So, if I would ask you to give one piece of advice to the young professionals who are so confused and so overwhelmed by this competition in the finance world today, what it would be?
For
Kanika,
me,
you want to?
for me, it would be like, if you want to be in the, you're either in or you're out. Don't try to find a middle path where, the stakes are going to be high. You are going to have to work long hours. You are going to have to invest in yourself and basically like do it. So either you do it passionately, do it because you love it, or don't do it at all. Try to find, like, if you think that that's not meant for you, try to look for careers which are less demanding than the ones that are there in finance. I mean, that would be my 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree with what Kanika said. And to add on, don't really seek perfection in any role that comes in front of you, any challenge that comes in front of you. It's not a perfect 10 on 10 that is expected on every JD, but rather, what are the skills that you bring to the table, plus what is the extra challenge that the role is offering to you, which you have to learn afresh, is what will propel you to success. If you knew all of this, don't apply for the job, because probably you're not going to learn anything from it, right? You're not going to gain anything from it. So seek roles where you're not a perfect 10 on 10 is what I would advise.
Okay. So you also mentioned about reverse mentoring. So I wanted to ask, the finance world is so dynamic. You also said it is so demanding. So how have you reinvented yourself to stay relevant? Like the fintech and so many things are coming up, ESG. So how do you keep yourself relevant?
I do a lot to keep myself relevant. As I said, teaching is one way I stay myself abreast with what things are going on, right? So when I do that, I am informally getting reverse mentored, because I keep speaking to the students and asking what's going on and so on and so forth, so that I really connect myself. When I say going on in other subjects that they are learning and so on and so forth, which I'm not really not in the game anymore. So that helps me get that kind of learning ongoing. Plus, I'm always reading and seeking information in terms of what's happening, what is on the top of technology, which will help me keep myself relevant, because the technology is something which if I'm not on the top of it, I know I can really take a complete backseat. So I make a conscious effort to see how I can really be hands-on on technology every time. So I keep trying out, embracing it, looking at various avenues, how I can hone my skills there a little bit here and there, right? Not that I'm going to be a technologist, but I just wanted to be a lever for my success.
Kanika, how do you keep yourself relevant?
So for me, while I was working on the corporate side of things were pretty easy, right? You had access to a lot of resources, and organizations themselves are at, the cutting edge. In whether it is in terms of the research that you're doing or in terms of the technology that you're working on. So that was never a problem till I was working. I think the real challenge for me started when I was on my own. So access to resources is definitely limited. I mean, you really don't have any finance packages. You don't have research reports to basically like read, so on and so forth. So that has been a struggle. But my solution to that is that I take out some time of the week, as much as possible, to basically like do any sort of reading that I can on areas which I need to focus on. For instance, I've been an RIA for about 6 years now. My clients basically over a period of time have been more demanding in terms of the kind of products that they basically have access to. So cryptos, for example, people generally, you might not invest in cryptos, but you're expected to, as an advisor, to know what crypto is, how are they valued, and so on and so forth. So somewhere, because you have a client facing role, you're kind of compelled to do all of these things so that you kind of maintain that image, and you maintain that kind of analytical rigor when you kind of start talking to clients. So I guess, long story short, it's basically like investing almost on a daily, weekly basis and doing extra things over and above your job that kind of helps you stay relevant.
Do you see the future of finance? What excites you? Your 2 cents on that.
I I'm quite excited because I kind of feel that today, for the women in finance, there are a lot of opportunities that are there in the market. I mean, when we graduated and we passed out from our B school, there were one or two finance companies who would come. A lot of banking jobs were available, but hardcore finance jobs were always difficult to come by. And while these organizations themselves were growing, the employment opportunities kind of didn't really move in line, because till the time these organizations achieve a critical size, right, there wouldn't be any need to basically like grow the employee base. But now, if you look at things, there are so many mutual funds that are coming up. There are so many opportunities to kind of work as an entrepreneur. So many PMS firms are coming up, boutique firms, AIFs, family offices. I kind of see opportunities all throughout. So I think that's very exciting. You can actually pick and choose what part of the equation do you really want to be a part of. So I think it's a great time to be in finance, and it's a great time to make use of these opportunities. I wish
So reassuring to the young professionals.
I wish that I was at the start of my career at this point of time.
You want to add something, Jayashree?
I think finance is no longer just finance, right? That is what excites me. It's more fintech and techfin all through its way. So how those are really converging, and how the cross-sectional skills are really coming to the fore is something which really excites me, right? So I am looking at how to be part of that journey. Crypto is something which still intrigues me. I'm still not, I keep reading more and more, but more I read about it, more I get intrigued and get a little bit confused, to be honest.
It is indeed. That is for sure. It is a lovely conversation. I'm learning so much. Your insights are. I'm introspecting myself, and I'm getting answers to so many questions which I have in my mind all day while at work or at home. And like, I had so many questions. Why am I doing this? How to stay relevant? And you made it so simple and easy. And I totally thank you for that. And if I have to ask you to sum your career journey in just 3 words, this question is to both of you. In just 3 words, how would you sum up your career journey?
So, 3 words, right? Resilience,
Yes.
reinvention, reinventing myself, and empowerment, right? So I keep empowering myself. So I feel I'm empowered. I'm the CEO of my own firm called Jayashree Limited. So, so these are the three things.
I'm going to put the sticky note in my room with these three words. Wonderful.
Kind, Shreya, with your words.
No, definitely. Because these words are so powerful. And if we manifest with such power, it's definitely going to work in our favor. Kanika.
For me, it would be perseverance,
Yes.
multifaceted, and professionally and personally enriching.
Wonderful. I think we should end at this wonderful note. A big thank you to Kanika and Jayashree for sharing your honest reflections. Your journeys have been truly inspiring. And it reminds us that personal growth and professional purpose go hand in hand. It was wonderful chatting with you both. Thank you so much for taking the time out for us.
The pleasure is ours. Thanks,
Yes.
Shreya, and thanks, Kanika. It was lovely seeing you again. Hope to see you both of you in person sometime soon.
Definitely. So, as we close, I'd like to share a quick update from the CFA Society India. We have just launched season 4 of FEMTOR, a flagship mentorship initiative designed to connect women CFA charter holders and senior finance professionals with aspiring women candidates and young professionals. Over the past 3 seasons, FEMTOR has helped build confidence, community, and clarity among many women in finance, both mentors and mentees alike. If you'd like to know more or get involved, you can visit us at cfasociety.india.org/femtor the mentorship club. Thank you for tuning into the CFA Society India podcast. I look forward to more conversations that celebrate leadership, learning, and power of mentorship in shaping the future of finance. Thank you.
Thank you for listening in to today's podcast. Before you go, please subscribe to stay updated on your favorite podcast app.